Buying 7 properties and doing over £1 million worth of deals in your first 12 months in property sounds pretty unbelievable. A lot of what you'll see on the internet is that you need a 6-figure salary, massive savings, or need to be a trust fund baby. And that simply isn't true. In today's interview with Cavan, one of Size Property Academy's most successful students, we talk about how the 26-year-old working full-time as a gas engineer has sourced and bought 7 properties for himself, joint venture partners and clients of his. It is pretty unbelievable at times when I'm listening to Cavan that he has had so much success. But with the right systems and methods, it is very doable. Cavan's 25, he started with £35,000 worth of saving and little to no knowledge on property. He's a full-time gas engineer that is well on his way to building his £1 million portfolio. In the next 8 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what Cavan did to build that property portfolio. Tell me your name, age, what do you do for a job, and where are you living?
So I'm Cavan, I'm 25, I'm a gas engineer from Huddersfield.
Right, so before you joined Size Property Academy, before you started investing in property, what did life look like? What was your situation? You know, what were you doing? How was life for you, pal?
Yep, so I've worked since 16-year-old, since leaving school. I did a gas engineer apprenticeship. I've always earned okay money. But I had very little direction in terms of investing, never been taught how to invest. It's not something you do get taught at school, which I find shocking. It was just a case of going to work. I'm quite sporty, so I would out of work. I was doing a lot of gymming, football, and my weeks were looking the same. No real purpose and drive.
So before you started, like, obviously just doing life as we all do, were you interested in investing in property? Is anything that considered your mind? What triggered that thought process? What made you think, I want to invest in property, or I need to start doing something that's different to the norm?
Yeah, so I always knew property investing was a good thing to get into. You don't hear of a poor property developer / investor, but it wasn't until I had a bad injury playing football, where I did my ACL. I had a bit of time off work. That allowed me to do a bit of research into property investing. I did the classic, go on YouTube, scan through every big name there is.
What was that moment when you were like, right, I tell you what, enough talking about this, I'm going to do it, I'm going to sign up and I'm going to try and change my life here. You know, like, any investment in yourself is always a tiny bit of a risk, isn't it? You don't know the outcome of it. It's always a bit of a worry when you're putting money out, and you're like, a lot of people don't want to do it because they don't want to invest in themselves. They want to take the risk. What if it goes wrong? Yeah. You know, what if I get it right? What if I invest this money into this person and things don't go right? Like, what was that moment where you're like, fuck it, let's do it?
Yeah. So, like you say, it is shit scary at first, but laying out that kind of money to invest in yourself, because you don't know whether it is the right thing. And we live in a society now where there's that many people doing that many different things, selling quick get rich courses, that you do have to be cautious. But I just knew from speaking to you and kind of you give me an insight into what the course involved, I thought it'd be a really good fit, and it's something I need to move forward with.
We're going to get to the exciting part now, where we're talking pounds, pence, money, which is fundamentally what we're all interested in at the end of the day. How many properties have you bought, and roughly how much equity have you created, and how much cash flow do you think you'll create when it all sort of settles down and we get a few tenants into some of these properties that we've done?
So it's literally been a year since starting with Sign Now. I've actually bought 7 properties, sourced 4 on to other investors, and then I've bought this one, which we're sat in now. That was using my own funds, and then I'm also in with a JV partner where we've completed a project, and we've just this week got an offer agreed on another. So yeah, in total, 7 properties secured.
That's mad. And I suppose I should always put it in these videos that, as a caveat, that is incredible work. It's not the norm. We've had another guy in the course that's done 8, but like, I think for anybody, it's just starting with the 1, which is really important. This is your first, wasn't it? I think this was the first one that you did buy for yourself, which was super exciting. And probably out of all the ones that we've bought, or you've bought, and we've looked at together, it's the least sexy, but it's definitely, 100%. I think for me, the money is in the dirt for these ones.
It's the best deal. It's the best.
I think so.
Maybe bar one we sourced for Chris, which was crazy, 50 grand equity day one.
Yeah, they do happen often.
So, but this one, it's the numbers are fantastic. Little cash deployed up front. I would just explain to Camilla earlier, 35,000 all in cost, 51% return on investment. That they are silly numbers, and it's just been so straightforward. There's been no hiccups. It's simple, and if I could do every deal like this, I would.
How much property value? So the 7 properties, how much do you think that's worth in total that you've bought?
So the portfolio itself of 7 properties, we're probably going close to $1 million.
So I know there was a point where you signed up, started, and then sort of nearly, I wouldn't say didn't get going, but like was struggling to get going, like as everybody does. What was that point that, I wouldn't say give up, but you're like banging your head against the wall a bit here and like, is this the right thing?
Yeah, well, I feel like when you're putting so much effort in, because I was doing the reps, I was ringing estate agents, and when you don't have that first result to show, that first deal which you've secured, and all you're facing is constant pushbacks, it's easy to get worked up about it. But then, as they say, 1 brings 2, 2 brings 3, the confidence comes, and all of a sudden, if you go through a dry patch of not getting a deal for a couple of months, it's not the end of the world, because you know you're doing the right things and they will come. Yeah. But I feel like just at that first few months, it can be a bit of a struggle, just not seeing immediate results, because everyone wants the immediate results, don't they? That's what we're all after.
We're human beings, aren't we? Yeah. So we're in 152 High Street in Barnsley. Sunny Barnsley, always. Just talk me through the numbers on this one for the YouTuber guys.
Yep, so we bought this for 66,500. We've done 11,200 and something pounds worth of work to the absolute dot, because that's all tracked on a spreadsheet. It's just gone on the rental market for £775 a month. When we come to refinancing it, in probably 4 or 5 months time from now, it should be worth, with comparables on the same street, around 100 to 105. So yeah, it's going to be turn out to be about 5k left in the deal once we've refinanced. So we've basically got this place, which is a cash creation tool for £5,000 all in after refinancing.
What's the equity created and net rent a month?
Net rent a month currently before refinance will be about £500 a month.
Wow.
When we refinance, it's calculated at about £330. Equity created, well, we bought this place for 66, it's now 105. We've done 11 grand's worth of work. We're talking about just under 30 grand.
So on this one then, in Barnsley, how much equity have you created day one from the work you've done and buying it at the right price? And what's going to be your net rent once you've refinanced?
So we've created £30,000 worth of equity. The net rent before refinance £500. After refinance, we're looking at around £330.
Wow, so £4,000 a year net income after your mortgage, voids, maintenance, management fees, and then we've got 30 grand equity created by buying right and doing the work well. And we're obviously going to get some capital growth, which is about 5% a year around Barnsley at the moment. So you put all that in together, Calvin's probably going to make 50 to 60 grand in the next sort of 4 or 5 years from this property, from doing very little work in and around it. He's created a great home for a young family that are going to move into this. And so he's got a win-win situation, created a great home out of a tired property, and he is, from one tiny little property in Barnsley, going to create a life-changing amount of money for himself in a short space of time. So why did you choose Barnsley?
So Barnsley, for one, it's a low barrier of entry. So if you are sat on 30 to 40,000 pounds worth of savings, you can do projects like these. The yields are great because of the low house prices and high rents or average rents. And then the centre has undergone recent regeneration projects. It's got a fantastic shopping centre, the Glassworks. People are getting drawn to the town centre again. The transport links have had a big upgrade. It's easy for commuters to get to Leeds and Sheffield just down the road. So it is a real good investment hotspot right now.
Yeah, I really like Barnsley. There's lots going on, lots of blue collar work. We're right next to the M1, so there's lots of factories and industrial estates that are going up and continue to go up. So there's lots of demand for property. And when we're looking at property and looking to buy property, it's that thing, we don't just want to buy any property in the outskirts of nowhere that's never going to go up in value. We want areas where people are going to live, they're going to make it their home for a long period of time. So property values will go up, rents will increase, and there's a demand for tenants at all times. So this is why Barnsley for us is a really good spot for investing, and Kevin's nailed it from that perspective. We're going to head up to Garnet Road in a minute, which is another one that we're looking at today for you. Talk us through the numbers on Garnet Road and who you've done that with as well, because that one's not on yourself, is it? It's a joint venture.
Yeah, it's a joint venture with an investor. They deploy the funds. I've sourced the property, project managed, and everything in between. So the numbers on that, we purchased it for 78,250 at auction. That was a traditional auction with Auction House West Yorkshire. But we've done £31,000 worth of work. Now the project's finished, and we expect it to be worth at least 130,000, possibly 140, and the rent on that is £950 a month. So again, net rent with management fees is around £450.
Wow, incredible. So again, another £5,000 a year net rent. We create an equity day one, good area on the edge of Leeds, so I'm excited to go see that. But another cracking property with good numbers on that, and we'll talk some more about that as well. So I think there's loads of growth predicted in Leeds. It's also the most, I think it's got the highest wage to living cost ratio in the country at the moment. Right. So Leeds is a great spot for earning the wages as big companies move into the city. But also at the moment it's still very affordable for lots of areas, so it's a bit of a win-win. And we are only 2.5 hours away from the city on the train as well, into London, so you can still do a little bit of that commuting if you ever need to do the commute into London as well.
And Leeds is well known for people coming up as students. It's got three great universities, and people want to stay in the city.
Yeah.
And when they're in the early to mid 20s, the kind of property that we've got there at Garnet Road is perfect for a student that's just finished. They've been living in digs for a few years or in shared accommodation, and they get a great modern place, and they can still work in the city.